You have everything you need to start hitting your driver way further right now. You have me, I'm gonna give you the knowledge base, and you already have the tools sitting in your golf bag. You're gonna need your head cover, you're gonna need a bunch of tees, 4, 5, 6 tees, and you're gonna need a bunch of balls to hit. Let's get right into it. Before we do, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Driver, more distance right now. So clearly there are a multitude of factors that relate to hitting a driver far. There's the speed the club head's moving, there's the centeredness of contact we make on the face, there's also the angle that the face meets the ball relative to the target line, and also relative to the direction the entire club head is moving. We call that club path. But this lesson is none of that. This lesson is a lesson that I'm commonly giving, and it's a lesson in differentiation. See, there are two clubs in the bag where the club doesn't touch the ground, ideally, as we're making contact with the ball. One is putter and the other is driver. Every other club in the bag, there are collisions that happen. There's two collisions, in fact. There's a collision with the club into the golf ball, and then there's the club to the ground collision. Well, with driver and putter, neither of those things happen. So just to expand on that concept, I oftentimes find myself talking about a plane coming into land. So there's a descent angle of the plane coming into land that is relatively steep, and then the club eventually touches the runway and then cruises down and decelerates. So hitting an iron off the ground is similar to a plane landing, whereas hitting a driver off a tee to optimize again with your current swing method, whatever speed, whatever centeredness of contact and face to path you play with, to hit your driver further, we need to ensure that you're not landing your plane, but yet you're coming in for a runway, right? The club's coming in on some angle of a descent back here pre-contact, and you abort the landing, right? So the arc never gets to the ground, but the arc that travels through the center of the ball is actually moving away from the ground. That's called a positive angle of attack. As I mentioned in the introduction, you already have what you need to accomplish these things. You need a head cover. The head cover needs to be filled with 3 or 4 golf balls down the kind of end of the head cover, the top of the head cover, so it weighs it down. What we then need to do is we need to put a tee in the ground, and that tee is about 18 inches back behind the golf ball. And then what this is designed to help us do, which I'll demonstrate here in just a minute, it's designed to create this limbo effect, wherein the head cover is lifted off the ground to give us some incentive to do two things: to get the arc low to the ground pre-impact, such that then the arc can travel up as it's traveling through the ball. You can see that right there. Then the conceptual piece of that landing, the plane's landing, aborting, can then also be reinforced by doing the following. So we have one ball sitting on the tee, that's the ball we're going to hit. Then 2 inches behind that ball, we're going to put another tee in the ground that is about half the height of the tee the ball's sitting on. And then 2 inches before that, we're going to push another tee down, and this one sits at half the height of the second tee. So we've got a tee that's sticking out of the ground, probably 1 centimeter, another tee that's sticking out of the ground, probably 2 centimeters, and then finally the tee that the ball is sitting on is sticking out of the ground some 3.5 centimeters. And then one last tee, some distance out in front of the golf ball that we're supposed to avoid. And so this one's about 2 centimeters out of the ground. So what are we trying to optimize here? We're trying to optimize the angle of attack. So we create a higher launch to your golf ball. Now, the drill here, we can call it takeoff or liftoff, is we start with our club sitting on the second tee, the tee that's sitting behind the tee that the golf ball would be sitting on. We're going to make a backswing, and we're going to slowly make a downswing. We're going to start to understand, learn, and feel what it takes to get the arc close to the ground. There's some amount of widening or unwinding of our trail arm, but in conjunction with that, there's some amount of restriction or limitation in getting our upper body mass to go to the left. You see, when a person's hitting an iron, what we want to do is we want to create a fairly significant shift of the middle of our body, that's both our pelvis and our rib cage, from behind the golf ball to centered out over the golf ball, even potentially for some shots further left than where that golf ball is sitting. Whereas with driver, in order to create the angle of attack that we're looking for, such that we're not landing the plane, we're aborting the landing, what we want to do is we want to have some sense that our pelvis can go, but our upper body stays. What's really effective to be able to see and feel this is when the shadow is cast over at 12 o'clock. We've got an overcast day here today, but if you can put yourself in a situation where you can see your shadow cast directly in front of you at 12 o'clock, you can start to learn and earn the feelings of upper body staying as the pelvis is going, because you'll be able to see it out in front of you. Let's reset this. And you can see from the down target line camera that the top of the head cover here, or the bottom of the head cover, sorry, where the club goes in, is sitting off the ground probably, I'm going to guess, about 5 inches. And it's directly, the tip of it's directly over the approach that the club's going to be taking. So it's not too far close to me, but yet it's not too far away. I think it's pretty self-explanatory right there. So we're going to make rehearsals. As I was saying, we're going to be rehearsing unwinding with our body back. Right arm gets wide. You can still hold your wrist angle because the wrist angle is the last angle to unwind. We're going to clip the back tee, clip the second tee, hit the tee that the golf ball's on, and then we're going to miss the forward tee. Again, just like so. Okay, I'm going to have to reset another tee. Okay, we're back. We got another tee. That would be the objective right there. Touch, touch, strike. If it comes out of the ground, so be it. Just going to pop this one down just a little bit further. Rehearse it 2 or 3 times. Then start it with a golf ball, same objective, just like so, under the head cover, hopefully touching one of these 2 tees. If it doesn't, just the mere effort that you're creating to touch those tees is likely to yield a result, which is the arc getting close to the ground just prior to impact and then rising away from the ground after ball contact. Nice. And both of those balls are higher than I would be accustomed to hitting it, which tells me, it's good feedback, it tells me my angle of attack is changing, it's becoming more positive. And on that angle of attack, I'm therefore likely creating a little bit more what's called dynamic loft. Rather than leading the handle quite so long, I'm letting the club pass under. One more here. Just like so. Nice high draw right there. So, take your head cover, put some golf balls in it, prop it up on a tee so it's sitting some 5-6 inches off the ground, directly on the target line here. Line your tees up, practice holding your upper body back as your pelvis shifts to the target. Practice unwinding the angle in your shoulder and right arm, right? Shoulder gets down, elbow unwinds, club then gets to the ground or close to the ground and then rises away from the ground, just like the plane aborting its landing, and you're going to start to hit higher and longer drives. All the best.